Hey everybody, Coach Eric Orton back for another episode of Running with Eric, and I'm out at Jackson Hole Mountain Resort for the first time this summer, checking out the trails. I've got athletes starting to come into town for training, and it's time to check out the trails here, see what the snow level's like and how the trails are shaping up. So it's a beautiful day. Check out Jackson Hole. I'm at about, maybe 8,000 feet. There's Jackson Hole and Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, top of the tram up there, and you can still see quite a bit of snow up high. So this is about as high as I'm getting today, and I'm headed down, but gonna grab a seat here and wanted to talk about something really important today: forefoot strike. And there's a lot of debate out there whether it should be forefoot, midfoot, heel striking. And wanted to talk about a study Harvard did. They took a group of athletes and they essentially tested 3 ways of striking the ground when you're running. One, with your heel. Secondly, midfoot or flat-footed. And then the third was forefoot. And again, forefoot, there's a misconception out there when you hear about forefoot running, of running on your toes. Well, I teach forefoot landing and then letting the heel strike, so you're not keeping the heel elevated. So I just wanted to point that out. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But again, back to the study: 3 ways of striking the ground: heel, midfoot, and forefoot. And long story short, the outcome of the study was testing force production in the landing, and hands down, forefoot striking provided or produced the less amount of force in the landing, hands down. Okay, so why is that important? A second study was done taking 2 groups, same ability group, same age, they're all similar in ability, but one group was never injured, the other group was often injured, and they put them through a test, and the group that was often injured across the board provided or produced the most amount of force in the landing. The group that was often never injured produced the least amount of force when landing. So if we put 2 to 2 together, the least amount of force you produce in the landing, the more injury-free you're going to stay. And with the first study, forefoot striking produced the least amount of force in the landing. So therefore, based on this study, from an injury standpoint and from my perspective, a strength training standpoint, forefoot landing is the ideal way to run, regardless of distance, regardless of type of athlete you are. You want to strive to land on your forefoot and then let the heel hit. Again, that's the key, like I mentioned earlier. We're not keeping the heel elevated. You're gonna get sore calves. Forefoot to heel. If you wanna get a sense for this, jump rope barefoot, jump up and down barefoot, and let the forefoot naturally strike the ground and then let the heel hit, okay? Very subtle heel hit, okay? Even if you watch someone forefoot striking, it's a very subtle look. It almost looks like it's flat foot, but it's a subtle forefoot to heel landing, okay? And so from a strength training standpoint, why is this important? Well, how we use our feet, good or bad, dictate how we use our muscles all the way up through our hip. And this is gonna be a whole other episode and a lot of focus going forward this summer with these videos, is that I really wanna dive into foot strength, run form, and what we're doing while we're out running, and how all those 3 elements mesh to keep us injury-free, to add strength, okay? Again, how we use our feet dictate how well we use our muscles, and it all starts with the feet. So if you haven't gotten my book, go out and get The Cool Impossible. It has a great way to transition to forefoot striking and more of a minimal shoe that we'll dive into too. You know, so I'm gonna kind of speak off of assuming since most of you have read the book, The Cool Impossible. For those of you who haven't, get out there, get it, because I'm gonna speak off of that and give a lot of supporting material to the book throughout the summer. So lastly, I'm gonna finish with how the shoes come into play. And I'm going to talk a lot about why you at some point should be running in minimal shoes. I'm testing out the Altra Superiors for the first time today. Been wanting to test them out for a while, and this is the first maiden voyage in them, and I'll talk more. I'll do a full review later on, but so far so good. But again, all Altra shoes are 0 drop, which I like. If you've seen my other videos on my 2018 shoes I've worn, you know, Salomon or S-Labs are my go-to shoe. I'm looking for these Altras to kind of be my long endurance shoe. And for those runs that I'm doing a lot of approach on road to trail, where my Salomons will wear a lot quicker, and I go right to the road with those, or right to the trail with those. So again, I'm looking for the Altra Superiors to be kind of my maybe over 5-hour shoe, where running is a little bit slower, and the added stack height a little bit based on what I'm used to with the Salomon will maybe suffice for my long runs. So again, I'll be doing a full review on the Superiors, but initially real good feel for the ground, and that's the key with minimal shoes, and why everybody at some point should use minimal shoes in their week, is that it allows you to feel for the ground. It allows you to feel and have that forefoot landing. If you've got a big stack height, it's like a big pillow. You're not going to be able to feel how you're using your feet, and that is the #1 thing to keep you injury free and to add strength. We want to use our arch as the #1 stabilizer. It's our natural stabilizer. It sets the course for how our knee stabilizes, sets the course of how our glutes stabilize, everything we've learned about proper stabilization and strength, but it all starts with how we use our feet. And again, we're going to dive into strength training per the book, and how shoes come into play and how run form come into play. So hope you get something out of that. Start making that transition to forefoot. Start slow, get the book, go through that program, and this is going to set us up for all summer of a lot of talking about this. That's so key, so important for all the athletes I see dealing with injuries, but with, you know, really strong strength running for ultras, marathons, whatever it is that you're doing. So all right, that's it. I'm gonna head down the hill. Hope you're having a good run, good week, and we'll see you next time. See ya.